All right. Today's a big day for everybody who's been following along with brand builders over the last few weeks. Today, we are actually doing some food photography, a much requested thing that people have been asking for. Today's finally the day it's going to happen. So I'm going to bring you along on the trip.
So I've been looking forward to this particular part of the entire brand builders process, basically since we first decided to do it. You see, I love food. I'm the kind of guy that loves to go try new food. I love to watch TV shows about food. I read books about food. I read books about the history of food. I'm a big foodie guy, and food photography, I think, is one of the best types of photography because I feel like it conveys so much in just one image. It demonstrates the culture of where the food came from. It demonstrates the vibe and feel of the restaurant that you're eating at. And I think there's so much behind the scenes thought that goes into crafting excellent food photography that I had to try it. Jay was very excited. We picked a day where they were closed. I could come in, bring just gear, set up inside the restaurant. He could make some of their most popular dishes, and we could just kind of grind out as many food photos as we could in just a couple hours. So I loaded up so much stuff. This was the first real food photography shoot I've ever done. I loaded up props, I loaded up camera gear. I brought way too many things that we really didn't need. And I'll explain all of that stuff later on in the video. But I wanted to show you the thought process I had, kind of how we mapped out the day, how we took the pictures. And then at the end of the video, I'll show you some of the finished shots.
Yeah. All right, I'm on my way to Thai time. We're about to just, knock out as much food photography as we can.
So once I got there, me and Jay, we kind of, talked through some of the details. I started unloading stuff, started setting up the main shot location where we were going to shoot all the pictures. While I was doing that, Jay was starting to prep some of the food. And I just want to point out that Jay is an incredible lights out chef. He was doing all of this by himself. It was incredible to watch how fast and how excellent he could make all of these dishes. I think that the longest it took for him to make anything was like 4 or 5 minutes. It was incredible to watch, incredible to eat, because I got to eat all the food after it was finished. So by the time I had all of the gear set up, Jay was already ready to rock. So I'll show you kind of the setup that we had. So for our main lighting, we used an aperture box light. We had a tripod set up with my backup camera. We had a Canon R6 on it with a 50mm 1.8 aperture as kind of a stationary, nice setup stage photography spot. With my Canon R5, the one that my primary camera, the one I'm using right now, I was able to kind of get more dynamic shots. I was looking for pictures that offered opportunities to really show the nuances of the food. So we had some kind of big picture, look at this food on a table kind of shots. And we also had some that were more like detail focused, more oriented on the finer details of the food. It was a lot of fun. I felt like as I was going, I started to get more confident. I started to figure out, what props actually work. How do we frame shots better? So as the shoot went on, I felt like we were really starting to get into a good swing of things. We grinded through all of these plates, all of these dishes, and we ended up, I think it took about an hour and a half. And I got home, I started editing the pictures, and I actually think they're pretty good. And, why don't you just take a look? I think an important part of food photography isn't just capturing the dish itself, but really you're trying to convey a bigger picture of what eating at this restaurant might be like. So with With Thai Time, we didn't have to buy, fancy dishes or these expensive props. We really could just lean into what they already were using. We brought in some of the ingredients that they used. We brought in some of more traditional style Thai plates and bowls and spoons. And we were able to kind of just use the things that you would actually see at a Thai restaurant to be able to flavor the pictures in a way that not only highlights the food itself, but also a bigger picture of what it would be like to walk through Thai Time's doors and actually eat there. After it was all over, I sent some pictures over to Jay to see what he thought about them, and he was pretty excited about it. So he told me, these look sick, and they look like Shutterstock photos. Now, that's a huge compliment to me. I take that to heart. And I also just want to highlight again, this would not have been possible if Jay didn't have the actual skill to create dishes that looked amazing and tasted amazing. And Jay was incredible at it. I would go behind the counter and I would see him kind of, fiddling with the basil or moving some vegetables around in the bowl to make sure it wasn't like all the tomatoes in one spot. So I think he had a good eye for this, and it made my job easier. And I think that was a fun part of this experience, was like we were really able to lean on each other, share ideas, come up with more creative ways to display his food in a way that turned out pretty great. Speaking of Jay, I recorded a short video of him explaining how the day went, and just have a listen. Okay, Editor Matt here again. This is another embarrassing moment that I wish you didn't have to see, but I feel like I should share it with you. I tried to record Jay. Right now, he's talking about something very valuable and important, and he wanted to communicate this to the world, and instead I hit the slow motion button on my camera, and now all of the words that he is speaking have been lost forever behind a wall of slow motion video. So I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sure it was very good, whatever you were talking about. And you live and you learn, I guess. If you're trying to vlog anything, I think it's very important to remember that you need to know what kind of video you're recording. And if you accidentally hit the slow-mo button, that takes your 4K 30 frames per second and moves it into 4K 120 frames per second and then cuts out the audio so that you can't hear what people are saying, it makes it harder to vlog.